All right, good evening. Let's go ahead and just get started. Uh, all right, so obviously, CPI FOMC is done. As we talked about at the beginning of the week, next week we have, I'm not next week, I'm sorry, tomorrow we have PPI, and then I believe nothing is happening on Friday. So either Friday's going to be pretty green or Friday's going to be some profit take and probably a little red. PPI comes in good, we bullish. Anything I would say resembling the numbers of what CPI was this week. Probably going to be an amazing, nice little run to finish off the week. Uh, what was I going to say? Looking at the futures real quick, um, just on the daily, actually looking at it on the weekly, we'll close out because it just obliterated all of my broad informations, anything on NQ and NES especially. With that being said, I can definitely see us pushing up higher. Solid, no expiration. Excuse me, no exhaustion at all. Hold on one second. Okay. So, NQ, same thing. We do have some earnings coming up, right? AVGO just did pretty well. Adobe is also in that tech sector as well too. So, we're looking out for their earnings. Assuming their earnings are good, AVG I wasn't worried about. Adobe a little worried about. I am watching it, but I am a little worried about it because ultimately it depends on. Hold on one second, guys. All right, sorry about that. So just looking at it from a weekly perspective, looks like we can keep pushing. Like I said, the week is not done yet. Obviously, we have 2 days left to go. So we'll see if we get some exhaustion on Thursday and Friday. Maybe we can see some sort of a pullback, but as it is right now, yeah, Bulls have it. Bulls have it right now. Looking at even the Dow on the weekly, right? We're going 212 to the upside. Just got to get through this fair value gap. It's actually a double fair value gap, so this may act as inversion, coming back into this range and then bouncing back down. But if the Dow follows pretty much the same trends as ES and then also NQ, you'll probably see, a push possibly back up to the highs up here. But yeah, I like the way the market's looking pretty strong. And honestly, in anything until I see something different, everything's going to be just the pullback to the dips, right? By the dips, pulling back into fair value gaps, et cetera, pulling back to previous breaker blocks, et cetera. Looking at the daily, again, still looking pretty strong. Um, how we finished, right? We went two up continuation, 3-2 on ES. The only struggle was again the Dow. Has a little bit to go through, but yeah, I think it eventually will follow suit. Mainly these two is the one that I'm focused on the most. All right. All right. With that being said, I do have a couple of tickers that I'm looking at for swings. Um, I think we're finally in a position where we can be a little bit more comfortable potentially with swings. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is going to be small account friendly. We're going to come over here. We are going to go to CCL. So with CCL, just taking a look at the monthly because we're about to get through the second week of June, right? So I just want to take a look at how the monthly is kind of shaping up. We're about halfway through June, so yeah. Um, obviously we got the pullback from this leg up here. We're experiencing the pullback, and then now we're getting the 212 back to the upside. So at least on the monthly, this would be my target 1768 after taking the month up, right? I'm also going to mark out the monthly entry just in case price were to come back to that monthly entry and retest it before the month is done. At the end of the day, on the monthly, I want to see price stay above and displace above this level of 1624, right? That'll tell me that bias is probably still bullish and that we can possibly continue up into the 17s, possibly higher into the 18 to $20 range as well too. Wanted to take a look at the 2 week. The 2 week is going to be over at the end of this week. So again, so far we're 2-2 up. And again, we're just looking for this candle to stay above the previous high, stay above this fair value gap as well too, and just continue looking for that displacement. And then we can continue to, again, try this target up here at 1768. On the weekly so far, again, 3 days into the week, we're currently inside. However, we are, holding this previous high. We came back to retest the previous highs, and we're holding above that. So that's a good sign. Definitely would like to see that. We'd like to see this acting as support at 1624. Gonna mark that one out as well too, just in case on the daily that we do travel back to that before the week is done. If we continue to hold above that, then yeah, like I said, I feel a lot better about it. June 25th. So yeah, we're good. We got some time actually. On what's it, the 2 day? No. Yeah. So the 2 day is actually going to give us some somewhat of an opportunity. Same thing as the daily. This is why I'm saying I'm looking at it for a swing because one, we have this gap to fill. I would like to see this gap filled and maybe us come back into this fair value gap right here, or at the very worst, this fair value gap right here. I want to see that happen so that we can catch that bounce back to the upside. I know we do have earnings on 625, so what we can do is look at either the 621 expiration dates or the 628. Ideally, I would probably want it to be the 628s because I don't want to swing through earnings unless I'm going way far out. In this case, I'm really targeting the 17 call. So again, what I'm looking for with this 322 rev strat to the upside, and honestly, we may continue bullish tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we do continue bullish. If not continue, if we do go bullish. If we go bullish, we're looking for obviously the 1703 would be entry. In which case you would probably want to go after the 17.5s or the 18s. I wouldn't recommend all the way up to the 18s. But I would probably say the 17.5 because that would be this target right here is also it's the next target on, is it on the weekly? Hold on one second. Oh, yeah. So it would be after you break the week up, that would be your next target. So that's the reason why I would choose that. And again, that's why I say the 17.5s. But if we drop below to close this gap, and then you see we start exhausting off of that closure, I would say you could probably start looking at the 17 call. And again, 628 probably the one that I'll go with. It's probably, I know it's a small account picker, but it's probably cheap. Let me see, 628, 17. Yeah, asking 62 a contract. All right, that's CCO. Let's go over to Palantir. Again, small account friendly. And I'm going to start from, let's get rid of you. I'm going to go ahead and start from the monthly. Right. So essentially we're kind of seeing similar price action, right? We get some consolidation on here, run up, consolidation, run up. So we're looking at consolidation again. However, on the month, we're currently inside. So the month is not done yet, but I'm looking, ideally I would like for us to finish either close to or above this level at the end of the month. At the way that from the way that price is going, it looks like we're just going to continue to respect the 50% consequent encroachment of the monthly fair value gap that broke structure to the upside. So as long as we continue to displace outside of this fair value gap, I believe we're going to continue pushing, and ultimately we're going to come after that target on the monthly. Obviously, there'll be some resistance along the way, but with Palantir, I definitely can see that happening. And we don't have earnings until August. So that gets me thinking for August swings, ideally with targets being hit somewhere in July. Let me check my notes real quick. Hold on. Palantir. 2 week. Okay. But coming in on the 2 week, again, that same monthly fair value gap, also another fair value gap created. I'm going to go ahead and close out the monthly fair value gap so you can see the 2 week one, right? Again, consequent encroachment being respected, and not only being respected, but we bounced outside of the fair value gap on the 2 week as well too. So ideally, from a 2 week perspective, it would be the 25. That would be your first target, the first high to target. And then the second high to target would be 27.50. Looking at the weekly, again, we're going 2-2 continuation. Obviously, we're not currently in force, right? But again, you can kind of see a base was built around this 50% of the consequent encroachment. So I would anticipate that the end of the week, we're probably going to be displaced above this. Obviously going to be a little resistance up here with this double top over here, where this 3 candle is and this previous 2 up are. So that 25 might be hard to bite through on the first try. Let me go back to my notes real quick. Okay. And then coming into the daily, right? Obviously in an uptrend, but we definitely had a pullback today after taking out this previous high. So we couldn't displace above the previous high, which is completely fine for me. I wouldn't mind us pulling back into a fair value gap so long as it's respected. And then we go from there, right? Ideally, what I'm looking for since I'm sorry, somebody trying to say something? Oh, okay, thought I was hearing. All right, no worries. So what I'm looking for is, even with that pullback, that's fine. I'm looking for it to attack the 25 call. Now it is a slow mover. It moves less than $1 a day. However, I think sorry? Is somebody trying to say something? All right. Hold on just one second, y'all. Let me find one. Okay, so yeah, with the 25 call for Palantir in August, hold on one second. Somebody just probably forgot to mute themselves. That's what it is. There we go. Okay. With the 25 call for Palantir, let me see. I'm sorry, I didn't see this. Just gotta, what did we miss? I honestly don't know. You joined just a minute ago. You didn't miss. Yo, Doc, stop taking yourself off mute, yo. If you're not gonna say nothing.
Oh shit.
All right. What was I gonna say? So you didn't miss much. I only talked about CCL and then also like the futures and stuff as well too. Ultimately, sentiment for me is bullish until the market tells me differently. Good CPI came out, obviously, good FOMC. So we're looking for the trifecta tomorrow with PPI. That's exactly what we're looking for. All right. Anyway, back to Palantir. So you could either do, technically it moves less, it moves about 84 cents a day. So obviously, that's close to $1. So if you wanted to look for the July 19th, the 25 call for July 19th, even though, I mean, it's still a decent amount of time, it's obviously less time. But you could do that. The 25 call for July, that's asking $76. Again, small account friendly, less than $100 a contract. If you have a pretty small account, I probably wouldn't risk more than 3 contracts on this. And again, for those of you with maybe a little bit of a bigger risk, I would say go after the 25 call and give yourself time in August 16th, right? Again, slow mover, so patience would be required. If it triggers to the upside tomorrow, I would still take the trade. I probably would just choose the July over the August one. But yeah, if we can get a nice pullback into the fair value gap and it respects it, so I would just, draw my box out right here. Boom, like, oops, sorry, right there, just to make sure, right? If it comes back and hits the 50% of that and then maybe bounces off of that, I'll be okay with that. But yeah, overall liking the uptrend. And you can see on the smaller time frame, you can from what we saw on the bigger time frame, the little support base that it was building here with all this consolidation. So yeah, essentially what we're looking for is that next leg up. We got our first run up here from here to here, and then we get a pullback. So we're kind of looking for that. Maybe it broke a high, maybe come back a little bit, and then just continue up to the next resistance, which would be up at 25.36. Maybe push a little bit higher than that, maybe up to 25.52, or even into this fair. That would even be dope. I would take that up into that fair value gap as well too, right? So if it hits early 25.36, probably take the majority of your contracts off the table and like let runners kind of deal with all the shit of the fair value gaps and the resistance at that point. Okay. Okay. So that was Palantir. I'm sorry, just looking at my notes. What was the other one? AbbVie. Okay. I'm sorry. Somebody put something in the chat. Let me see. My bad. Phone was in my pocket. No, you good, homie. I was just like, cause yeah, it sounded like someone was trying to say something. You good, Doc? All right. Coming over to AbbVie. We're gonna come over to the healthcare sector real quick. Oh wait, there was one thing I think I forgot to talk about with Palantir. All right. So for you straters, remember how I said that you want to be entering a trade within full time frame continuity? And you kind of should be happy when you see like the higher time frames are in unison with each other. Maybe the smaller time frame is not. This should tell you that eventually the higher time frame should win out. Majority of the time, highest probability is that the higher time frames are going to win out. So what you're looking for essentially is again that reversal back to the green side. So it could be tomorrow if it goes two up, because this is still a two up, even though it closed not in force. It's still a two up, right? Also, if it does pull back again, goes red, again, as long as it doesn't, flip the week red, I probably wouldn't trip about that. But if it just pulls back a little bit and if it holds the previous week's close, if it does pull back that far, I'm saying, and then bounces off of that, once it flips green, yeah, I'm probably taking that swing because I'm entering within full time frame continuity, right? That tells me all the different participation groups are all thinking the same thing. They're all bullish on the ticker, if that makes sense. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that and people understand full time frame continuity a little bit better and understand why we like entering within full time frame continuity. The way I think about it is kind of like a strong river current, right? If the higher time frames are the stronger currents, and if they're all going in one direction, you probably wouldn't want to try to play against that, right? Because you're going to have to try to essentially swim upstream. I don't know about you, but that probably gets you pretty tired pretty quickly. Well, unless you're, like an all-star or whatever, but not too many all-stars in the stock game. Okay, so with AbbVie, what I'm seeing on the month is that, obviously we got an uptrend, we get our pulled back into a fair value gap. More importantly, we respected this previous high, aka inflection point on the month, right? We respected that, dipped into the fair value gap, and also respected the inflection point and pretty much respected this fair value gap as well too. Didn't really we filled it and that's it. Couldn't displace below it. So now we get the 2-2 reversal on the monthly. Yes, there is a fair value gap up here. However, it is two-sided, so it's not unlikely that price, wouldn't be able to get through that. So far, on first attempt, on the month. It seems like we got to the 50 on that and then came back out. But for me, what I would look for is if price is either going to displace either close to or above this 50%, the 50% of this fair value gap, the consequent encroachment. If it does at month end, then I would feel more confident about it going 2-2 to the upside. However, strat wise, it is a 2-2 reversal, just not currently in force. little bit of a fight there on the monthly. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, it's all roses from here. However, if we look at the weekly for Abby, um, so far what we've done is displaced outside of a bullish breaker block, as well as um, we definitely expanded the range with a broadened formation over here, right? So we're making lower lows. We're, bouncing off of that. We got the 2-2 reversal off of that. So what we're looking for this week is most important that we displace above this previous high over here of 166.49. I would like to see that. Even if we don't, finish above this candle, as long as we do above that, then that means support, it should mean that support is holding from that previous high instead of it being resistance. It's now acting as support. Um, yeah, not until July 16th. Uh, on the daily though, what we're seeing here is that again, and this is more going to be of a swing. It's not necessarily going to be something immediate tomorrow. But I do want you to keep your eyes on it, right? So on the daily, what we've done is trade it back into, again, a bullish breaker block over here. And then right below that bullish breaker block is also a fair value gap that broke structure. So two bullish confluences here. For me, that makes me think that we might be seeing a bounce. Again, may not be tomorrow. Hell, it may not even be Friday. It could be Monday. But again, this is something that you should put on your radar because once you see it starting to, exhaust from the lows, and then you get that 2-2 reversal, or possibly the 2-1-2 reversal, or maybe an inside reversal, or 3-1-2, I should say, then just be on the lookout for that because essentially what we had is our first leg up, right? We did create higher highs. And yeah, here's the pullback. So what we're looking for is to create a higher low, and then we can get in on an entry back to the upside. All right. So Abdi should definitely be one that you should keep on your radar, unless it gets some sort of bad news. But from the way it's looking on the daily and then also on the weekly as well too, it's looking pretty decent. And then again with the monthly still being green for now, yeah, I like it. Right. I like Abdi as a swing as well too. Let me see the chat. What software am I using? That is TradingView. The way I approach all-time highs, I'm cautious. I'm very, very cautious with it. So I'm like, for example, I went light into the QQQ calls I took, and I was very close to the strike. I think when it dropped down to like the low 474, possibly high 473s, I took the 475 call. Yeah, honestly, the way that I've been taught, my base and foundation of learning and really understanding price is strat. And one of the things the strat teaches is that all-time highs, you generally don't fuck with it. So, but at the same time, we're taught to trade what we know to be true, objective traders, which means that we're just taking what we know to be true. And right now, what's true in the market? The truth is that the Qs are looking strong. There's I've been looking at futures, but even when you look at QQQ, look at the month. Month is not even close to any signs of exhaustion just yet. I know that we have 2 weeks, but yeah, it's expanding. We had our pullback in April, and since that point, pulled back into a fair value gap here. Since that point, yeah, we've been going strong. So it really has been. I know Phil just said it recently today, but um, honestly, we've also said it months ago. The theme hasn't changed. It really hasn't. It's still just been, and you could see it for yourself in the chart. Every pullback on this run since October has been just that, just a pullback by the dip situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with these 3 months here, buy the dip, boom, pull back again. All right, buy the dip. So for me, I would just say probably keep it close to the money. I wouldn't go too far out because at any given point the algos can decide, they no longer want to continue to buy this at premium. Right now, to them, this must still be a discount for them because they're, heavy volumes going into it. It's not even like, little by little. And, we know why the little by little was happening early because in anticipation of CPI, but even yesterday with the run up that happened yesterday, that was volume at the end. So yeah, that's honestly the way for me. All time highs is I'm cautious with them because I'm aware of what can happen, but at the same time, trade what the chart's showing you, and don't be mad at yourself or beat yourself up if you get into what seems to be a very bullish chart, right? Again, we just looked at the monthly. The weekly is up as well too. 2-2 continuation, no signs of exhaustion, right? In force, full time frame continuity is bullish as well too. Looking at the daily, again, same thing, maybe a little exhaustion at the top there, but still a strong move. So yeah, um, be cautious. That's all I could say. But at the same time, trade what you know. So, ideally, would I have wanted some sort of a pullback today? Yeah, I would have. At least then, it would have made it easier as far as finding targets and stuff. But yeah, right now it's looking. The AI is driving right now. AI is definitely in the driver's seat right now. Apple, said hold my beer real quick because saw Nvidia was getting all the love and say, yeah, they got to step into the ring. And honestly, yeah, they needed to. They really needed to. They had to come out with something. I said it a long time ago. Apple had to come out with something because it wasn't really dropping any new products. It's just newer versions of the same product. So that's it. So yeah, I would just say be cautious. Just be very cautious. I've learned not to try to short it. Yeah. Like there are, put it like there's short opportunities throughout the day, but you got to understand the environment that you're in, of course, right? If you know that we're ultimately bullish, I'm not saying like only trade one way, right? If you see an opportunity short, but understand the lane that you're in, which is this short is not going to last for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? This short is just going to last for an hour, maybe a day, maybe two, if that. This ain't a swing. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a day trade, it's more of a scalp, right? Like even here, this is a two up, so I can't even really count this as a really a red day because as you can see, the bulls pulled it back. But even with this three, quick, done. What happened? Two, all bullish, right? Over here, just a 3 day combo. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with the green, like you see the runs happening. So yeah, I would just say just be cautious. In my opinion, just be cautious. Was that it? Oh, can I look at Apple? Yeah, that's fine. Shout out to the AVGO people. I'm praying for you that it holds real shit. Like I'm not even trying to be funny. I know some people degenerates definitely went heavier than they should, so I know that's why the prayers are going up. But yeah, good shit, yo, good shit. Um, let me just be clear. I'm not condoning gambling on earnings. Just want to be clear on that. All right. Earnings can give and earnings can definitely take away. All right. So on the monthly with Apple, Apple just cleared a serious high at 200 level, right? Um, that was some resistance right there, right? First attempt, second attempt failure, moved away from it. The second like real attempt, real run up at it, failed again. Same thing, came back, and so um, hell even had to start from 192 to get up to 200, right? Um, honestly, with their AI thing, like now that they're in the AI game, so to speak, um, I could see Apple 215, 220. If we continue on this run, hell, I could even see Apple at 250, to be honest with you, right? Don't hold me to that, but yeah, I could see it at 250. Obviously, some pullbacks along the way, but yeah, I can definitely see Apple at 250. Um, we're talking one of the most valuable companies in the market, and now they're getting into AI and incorporating that, if I'm not mistaken, with their OS system. Shit. I mean, the implications on what that can do, and let's be real, y'all Apple people like real like into y'all phones and shit. Like they got y'all on control. So I'm just fucking with you. But yeah, no, I could definitely see it going higher. Uh, what did they get up to so far? 220? Yeah. So if we, again, I would probably want to pull back, but yeah, I could definitely see, 230, 240, possibly 250 before the year is done. Definitely, right? And then looking at the weekly, yeah, Tina is strong. It's just, I mean, yes, we had, exhaustion there. Uh, but Apple could just be getting started. This could just be profit taking that you're seeing at the top, to be honest with you. And I like that we have a stacked, see, I keep telling y'all about them double outside setups, bro. It's not a real strat setup, but I've been noticing, yo, after them double outsides, you get pretty explosive moves. And look at what happened. This is an order block right here. This candle right here creates the order block. Sorry, this candle right here creates the order block once it displaces above this three. So you got an order block stacked on top of a fair value gap as well. So that's a pretty strong bullish move. So this should hold as support. This area should hold as support. Even if we do fall back, I would say definitely probably around 200. If it falls back to 200, um, for me, that'd be probably a place that I would probably want to try to go long, because that was a pretty serious resistance before. So now it should act as support if that happened. If it continues up tomorrow, well, that's a $7 move. I might not want to take that. Maybe let me see the 4 hour. Hold up. And 4 hour was coming down. Let me see the daily. Okay. Well, maybe if like, so we have consolidation here, right? Accumulation, if you will. So maybe if we pull back down here, maybe this is the manipulation move and, check to see if this fair value gap on the hour stays respected. If it bounces off of that, like if it respects and bounces off of that, then you could probably choose the 215 as a target with some time, like depending on where it drops, right? If it drops down, like I would say less than 210, you should probably go 220 for next month or something like that. Um, I know, this thing moves almost $5 a day, but I'd rather give you the time so that you can, leave runners and let them do their shit. So we a mob. Do I have another example of a double outside? Proud did that. I want to say, you gotta give me a second. Let me find this shit because it's not, was it on the daily? Or was it on the weekly that I saw this? Hold up. There was when they had a double outside and that shit just took off afterwards. I'll find it. But I guess I can start marking it down when I see it. There was a couple other tickets that I seen it on as well, so I just don't see it often. But yeah, those double outsides, yo. Um, and it doesn't matter like what the outside candles are, it's usually an explosion, either to the upside or the downside. Obviously, since the market's been in, a bullish um temperament, it's been creating a lot of moves to the upside. Okay. So on the week right here, this started the run, this run up, right? It obviously gapped up, so not like you could have known to enter right after that double outside, but you get the double outside on the weekly, and then look at what it did from, let's say, I don't know, you entered maybe hopefully somewhere at the bottom. Oh, was that? Oh, I didn't mean to hit W, but this is a perfect example. Wait, I thought I was hitting the week on crowd. My bad. I want to go back to make sure. 1 second. I'll come back to Wayfair because that's a perfect example, actually. Man, I know I saw it on crowd. That shit's gonna fuck with me now until I find it. All right, let me just go back to Wayfair and show you the example though. So the boom, right? So this is obviously earnings, but again, that 3-3, maybe if you would have caught somewhere down at this gap or hell, even maybe somewhere here once this high is broken, right? It runs all the way up to the highs of 76. So if you had gotten in, right, you probably would have want to targeted a previous high. So let's say you get above this high, you probably would have then targeted this high at 66.95. So let's say you get the 65 call with time and it runs all the way up to 76 from from 58, let's say 60. That would have been a really nice ass swing on Wayfair, right? So let me see if there's anything else too on the chat. FedEx had it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Double outsides don't necessarily mean to me an explosion outside. It just means that there's probably gonna be a really decisive move, probably within the next candle or so, right? At least that's what I've been noticing. I'm gonna continue back testing it, but I've been noticing the shit out of that. Too bad for FedEx, man. Like they just cannot catch a break. It's dealing with that little ceiling there on that fair value gap. Ooh, 313. Double outside. I see. Okay, double outside the bad news. Okay, got you. Well, in that case, yeah, this 3 might continue to take it down, maybe down to these lows down here for FedEx. All right, let me go back to my notes and make sure I gave y'all. Oh, okay. So the next one I had was this one, ULTA. I don't trade it often, let me say that, but just scanning through, looking at different things, trying to branch out and maybe not master, but like get a little bit more comfortable with some more tickers. But okay, what am I looking at with Alta, right? One, we're sitting right above a breaker block on the monthly. I like the fact that we've been holding support. We haven't had a candle that's displaced below this candle since this point. But even when you look backwards, right, pretty much once we cross that threshold, you see how it's being used as support now, right? Came down, support, came down again. We get our what is it? I see turtle soup, right? And then here we are again revisiting that same level of support as well. Um, what was I gonna say? So, I mean, I'm aware of the fair value gap that's above, of course, right? So I'm definitely taking that into consideration. But looking at some strike prices when we come into the weekly, there's definitely a high right there on the weekly. And obviously, again, when you're looking at the weekly, we can kind of see it a little bit clearer on the month, that support that's being held. If the week holds like this, where we're actually setting ourselves up for a 1-2-2 rep strat back to the upside. Um, I really want to target the 400 call. And then if it runs up to 420, that's fine. Hell, if it runs up even more, that's even better. But I really want to focus on, I know it's only $10 away, but I really want to focus on hitting that and then letting runners do what they do. Did I hit the 2? No, it wasn't the 2 week that I was looking at. So on the daily, again, we had our first run up, the first leg, came back down. Notice that we couldn't take out these lows. We did get close though, obviously. Couldn't take out these lows, held the support, hammered. We went 2-2 reversal, 2-2 continuation. So now we're looking for, we're looking for the 2-2 continuation to the upside. And again, probably, for me, I want to target the 400s, but If you wanted to go a little bit further out than that, I would say you could probably even look at the 410s as well too. Um, again, the month is still, bearish, but just take into account and mark out exactly where it would need to go to flip the month, flip the month back to green, right? The inside month back to green, and that's only $4 away. So if it starts moving, like we believe that it can move, and it almost actually did it today, actually. So if we get that 2-2 continuation and we trigger this 2 up to the upside, then no, we've also flipped the month green as well too. So then we'll have, yeah, we're not flipping the quarter. We're definitely not flipping the quarter anytime soon. But yeah, with the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, I definitely feel a little bit, a little bit more confident in it. So for the 400s, I think I was looking at the July 19th calls. I believe it is, let's see, hold up. Yeah. So the 400 call for July is $8.30 a contract, so not small account friendly. If you want to go after the 410s, spreads are a little bit, about $30 difference, but I think you'll still be able to get out without too much of a haircut. But yeah, you could go after the 410s at 490. If you're feeling froggy, you could do the 420s because technically that is a realistic time frame going to July 19th. We're talking about a ticker that moves almost $10 a day, and we're looking at a $30 move, and we're giving ourselves about what 5 weeks to do it. So if you want to go after the 420s, be my guest. Just know that obviously, um, it needs to move a little bit more in order for it to grow. But that one, I would say, is semi-small account friendly at 285 a contract. So that's ULTA. Again, mark out your triggers. If it does trigger to the upside, um, yeah, like I said, something I would take, right?
Uh,
Somebody trying to say something? All right. Let me see the chat. Is that a double top? Where? What expiration? Dr. D, if you're talking about Alta, 719.
It was on the first time frame that you were on.
The first time frame that the month. Let's see.
I believe so.
A double top on the month. Not really. The double top would have meant that they both would have been at the same level here, right? But no, what it did is it just made a higher high. So strat wise, it just made the top of a Broadening formation and made a new Broadening formation, actually. That's all that it did. And then, yeah, there would be the bottom of your Broadening formation if you wanted to draw that out. But no, not a double top. Double top, they would be, a little bit more level with each other. I was trying to, there was something I was looking at earlier, and I cannot remember the ticker for the life of me that had a double top. It'll come back to me. Anyway, let me see. Chart. Heard you. Thanks. All right, perfect. And so that's that. So now coming into Zscaler on cybersecurity. Zscaler on cybersecurity, looking at it, we got on the month, we got the 2-2 reversal. We're currently in 4. So what we're looking for this month is for price to stay above 183.70, which is that monthly entry. Yes, there is a fair value gap above, but it's a two-sided fair value gap. So this may not be hard for price to get through. We'll see. But essentially what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the bigger picture is run up, pull back into fair value gap, run up, pull back, not necessarily into a fair value gap, but yeah, we're seeing that pullback. I like that we're getting that reversal there. And then I think if we draw the OTE, Yeah, so basically we just dipped below the equilibrium, just came into discount, immediately gets bought right up, and then yeah, we get the 2-2 reversal back to the upside. So if this continues, obviously we're looking at a target of this high for 259. And then on the 2-week, I wanted to just all right, and then on the 2-week, I just wanted to show that we are, looks like we're trying to displace outside of a breaker block, a bullish breaker block. So if we do that, that'll just add to the confluence of the bullishness for me. And you can even also see and notice that, you know, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, right? Is holding that level of support. No candle's been able to displace below that 169. So again, tells me, you know, at least when I look at it, that it's building some sort of a base here, you know, for the bulls to probably push off from. On the week, looks a little bit, you know, a little bit more clear, right? You got your consolidation here, and then you get your manipulation to the downside, right? And that's what we're looking for. These are liquidity sweeps when we're sweeping the lows, but we're not displacing below them. So this whole entire time, even though that this low got below the breaker block that's shaded in blue, it never invalidated it by being, excuse me, by closing below it. So now we have a 3-1-2 to the upside on the weekly for Zscaler. And yeah, I know the week is not done, but we're looking. Ideally, what I would like to see if the bulls are gonna, you know, stay strong, I want to see price displacing above 190.35 because that's a previous low there, and that should be acting right now. It's acting as resistance. I want to see price kind of, you know, get above that, hold above that, and ideally just, you know, kind of displace outside of this breaker block on the week. It looks good to me though, considering again, we got the manipulation creating the bottom of the broadened formation. And yeah, again, so far it looks like we're trying to, you know, bounce off of that. Looking at the daily is red, which is okay. That's absolutely fine, right? As you can see, major run up on Zscaler. Matter of fact, we should have really noticed it down here at 170, and we could have gotten a nice run up to what was the highs here? 193. Oh yeah, that would have been a really nice trade. But we just like on the weekly, we do have a breaker block, and then inside of that breaker block is a fair value gap that broke structure to the upside bullishness. So in other words, what I'm saying, this should be a support, right? Right here, this area up here should be support. So even if we do pull back to 183, as long as you see that we're not displacing, you know, below these fair value gaps and below this breaker block, it's going to be a buy the dip situation. And yeah, you can, let's see, where would below, give me 1 second. Would it be from there to there? Right. So yeah, if it drops down using the feds, if it drops down to, you know, maybe 180, 179 area, you might want to look for signs of exhaustion there from the downside. Maybe look for possibly a hammer candle and then catch that reversal right back to the upside. And if that is the case, then you can probably start targeting some highs. The first high that I would probably want to target would probably be up here at 197. So with Zscaler, I probably want to look at the 200 call. Let me see if that like kind of matches up with what we see on, let me see, what is this low right here? 202. Yeah, so I probably want to grab the 200 call. Zscaler does move, what's that, $6? Let me see. Almost $6. So I may want to look at August contracts. July, I think it could still get to 200 by July, but I would want to probably give more time, maybe look at some August contracts for that. I haven't looked at the price, but you can certainly look that up. But yeah, I think it's a good move. What we're seeing here is the first leg, and yeah, if we can get it to pull back into this area of support and bounce off of that, we can catch that second move up, which should, you know, be a little bit more directional, obviously, more bullishness. So yeah, that is Zscaler. And then the last one that I got for the night is we're gonna stay in cybersecurity. It is Palo Alto, the one that you guys probably pay more attention to. But don't sleep on Zscaler. Real shit. Don't sleep on it. Okay, on the monthly, we're inside, obviously close to taking the month up. We still do have 2.5 weeks left to do so. So 324, 325-ish is that's where we're gonna take the month up. Looking at the weekly, we are 212 212 reversal to the downside. Actually, yeah, really mad at myself for missing that. This is an inside hammer. Strat-wise, perfect fucking entry, right? As soon as it took this high on the week, we're in it. And honestly, we would have targeted up here at 324. So probably would have grabbed the 320 or the 325 contract, more than likely 320 if it were me, and ride that TTO back to the upside. Shit. Looking at, no, not the 2-day, the daily. Daily, yeah, still looking strong. I think the daily probably wants to take out these two targets before pulling back. So you could do one of two things. You can either ride it up into, 324, maybe still get that 325 call, ride it up into that, and then, maybe get out and see, let it pull back and then get in on the pullbacks, get a round two, back to the upside. Entirely up to you how you want to run it. Like, or you could just grab the contracts, take the majority of your position, leave runners, let them fall or whatever, and then, let the runners run back to the upside as well too. If you're gonna go 325, I'd probably say go for July. Obviously it's a $6 move. You can either go July or go June. Technically, you could go June 21st, but I like time, so go June 28th. But if you're feeling froggy, do June 21st. Entirely up to you. It's your money. I'm not here to tell you what to do. All right. And that's really all I got. As far as like the popular ones, AVGO, actually, hold up. What is SMCI doing? Wow. This shit is not moving at all. This shit makes me want to take puts on it. Yo, with all the movement that's going on in their industry, wow, they haven't done shit this week. Oh hell yeah. If price displaces below this low to finish the week, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely looking at puts. I don't give a shit. I'm looking at puts for sure. Damn, for real, bro. This shit did not do anything. With everything else running up, it didn't do shit. It's actually set up for a 1-2-2 rev strat back to the downside, actually. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, I mean, because it's clearly holding support here. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely bearish. Because it's holding support, but I mean, look at all that exhaustion. Like, yeah, the 3 couldn't take out where this candle opened. We've been making lower highs. 2 tried to do it, couldn't do it, exhausted off of that. So this might set up a 1-2-2 rev strat back to the downside. And if anything, it's either going to sweep or run all of these lows right here. It's going to sweep or run these lows, one out of the two. So it's either going to be a manipulation, sweeping the lows to get some bullish strength to push up, or yeah, it's going to displace below these lows. And at this point, you should start looking at 700 puts and 650 puts for SMCI. Very disappointing. I thought this shit was gonna run with all the other big boys. But yeah, nah, since that high, it's just been big picture making lower highs. Hmm. All right. That's really all I got, unless there's something that y'all want me to look at real quick. Um, I did want to keep this kind of tight because I want to put my daughter to bed. But yeah, if there's something y'all want me, I got 5 minutes. If there's something y'all want me to look at, let me know. If not, I'll wrap it up in two. You say spy? Ha. Um, Honestly, my answer to spy would be the same answer I gave to the Qs. Just trade what the chart is giving you, but I would not. I would tell you not to go like heavy into that position. You know what I'm saying? It's you got to think. And with all-time highs, you need to think small risk, high reward scenarios, because in the back of your mind, if you're worth any salt as a trader, you know that all-time highs means that at any given time, any catalyst could reverse the trend. And even if it's just a pullback, right? But you just know that at any given time, it could happen. And you just don't want to be one of the ones getting caught at the top. It's like GameStop, right? I know GameStop, it came right back up, right? But yeah, there's people who got in at that, high $40, $50 level, right? Only for what? I think the next day it dropped all the way down to like 23 and change. Even for shares, that's a hit, especially if you went heavy on shares, shit, let alone the contracts, depending on, how much time you gave. So, um, you just don't want, like, you don't want to be one of those that sized heavy into that. You want to just get maybe one or two, like today. Yeah, like I got in Qs at the end and I only did two contracts because of the all-time highs. Now, hindsight's 2020. Do I wish that I'd gotten more? Yeah, but hindsight's 2020. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time I got into the trade, anything could have happened. I could have gotten in heavy and the shit reversed. And that's okay. I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Because profit is still profit. Tomorrow I'm cash heavy though, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go for sure. I'm light on next week puts. All-time highs be like earn. Honestly, like I've been catching shorts like in a scout situation. I'm not sure. I need to see it. I got to maybe see. We'll see how Friday closes for me to start thinking about puts next week. Because puts was lined up for this week as well too, so far, and puts ain't winning. Puts got blown out the water. So anyway, all right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the group. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Deuces.